first by the force of arms, and more recently by the twin influences of the marketplace and economic competition. Moreover, unlike Western or Cynic civilization, it does not possess a core state of overwhelming influence and power around which the others can coalesce. At the end of the day, Saudi Arabia is nothing more than a rich point. While it was obvious that there was no great well of sympathy for America in the Islamic world after September 11th, neither was there at that particular time any outpouring of support for Osama bin Laden. That came later with the invasion in Iraq. Bin Laden, as the distinguished war historian Michael Howard wrote in Foreign Affairs, is about as representative of Islam as Ian Paisley is of Protestant Christianity. Hunter's gravest error in his book was to see the appeal of the West, which he feared being rejected by the Islamic world in terms of modern culture and financial priorities. What he and other commentators miss is the impact that the spreading notions of human rights are having deep within the Islamic world as they are having everywhere. While it is probably true that in its present form human rights is mainly a Western construct, it is not, as Huntington argues, that the Islamic world has shunned it. He passes over the influence played by many Islamic nations when the path-breaking UN documents on human rights were first written. As Professor Susan Waltz of Michigan University has unearthed, it was not Eleanor Roosevelt who authored the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Rather, it was a small group of countries and individuals that put non-governmental organizations that pushed the document through the labyrinth of the UN, with texts from many Islamic countries making substantive contributions. Moreover, Muslim delegations and delegates clearly understood the human rights documents to be universally applicable. They made compelling arguments and applied concerted efforts to getting that through. Islam, as Christianity before it, is evolving at a very rapid pace. It's only a generation ago that political observers used to note that the countries of Southern Europe and Latin America were constitutionally and philosophically unable to take to democracy. Many Muslims today, including those who are most informed as religious leaders, argue that so-called traditional Islamic practices, the form of punishment, the attitude to women and non-Muslim minorities are not Islamic at all, or at least are not mandated under all circumstances. Most Muslims understand that the essential ingredients of their faith are tolerance, compassion, and concern for the weaker members of society. It should have come as no surprise that at the UN Conference on Human Rights in Vienna in 1993, made to review and refresh the commitments of 1948, the Islamic world was split. So was the Western world. In the end, however, there was an overwhelming endorsement of resolutions that reaffirmed the validity of the original Declaration of Human Rights. Even Singapore, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia and China, all critics of what is saying is merely part of the Judeo-Christian tradition, decided to cast their vote in favor of the consensus. The universality of human rights was reaffirmed. All human rights are universal, indivisible, interdependent, and interrelated, the Vienna document said. Thus, the entire spectrum of human rights was endorsed without a division, an amazing, if underreported step for mankind. If the Islamic world is as potentially dangerous as is often suggested these days, then the best long-term counter weapon is not the added security in the Western world or war-making, but the removal of the causes of friction. The American soldiers in Iraq, the lack of progress between Israel and Palestine, the peace agreement, and the increasing warmongering attitude and the threats of military force against Iran. What we need is a vigorous pursuit of human rights, the backbone of freedom. This is what will impress. This is what will impress the rank and file. And as we know from watching Hindu-Muslim Democratic India or Muslim Democratic Indonesia or Confucian Democratic Taiwan, democracy rings very deep bells in all kinds of society. The greatest challenge for the future is to continue the move towards democracy and the practice of human rights, now very discernible in the Islamic world. Stirring the military waters, as America and Britain appear now intent on doing, is quite counterproductive. But to win more progress in getting more societies to practice democracy, the West has to be constantly credible on the human rights front. We need to trade away our freedom in a false Faustian bargain with security, but must keep propagating and pursuing the cause of civil liberties and human rights, which means other things in the news right now, honouring the Geneva Conventions, bringing suspected Al-Qaeda detainees to trial, and allowing the other incarcerated detainees their freedom, abolishing capital punishment, and not least making sure the International Criminal Court really works backed by every nation in the world. All this works in our long-term favour, for the evidence suggests that democratic societies do not go to war with each other. In short, what we need is a greater commitment to freedom, matched by awareness of those who would fence in our liberties in the name of security because of some primeval, irrational fear of encroaching Islam.